Welcome to Did She Really Say That? A podcast hosted by Truth Bomb Marketing. Hi, my name is Chef Katrina. I'm joined by my co-host,
Heidi Muma.
And we're excited to be talking to you about what it is for women in business to be creating a new way to do business. I think that's the big thing. Inside this podcast, we explore women that have been successful. We just explore different ways around food impacts us. We explore different ways around what we are dealing with hormonally as women. And today we're dealing with time. So Heidi, you're a homeschooling mom.
Yes.
You did that for all three of your children.
Yep.
What was time like for you?
Time was always running away. The thing is, it's like for us, it was like, we didn't have a set schedule every day per se. It was like, and so whenever I was like, I explored all kinds of time management things, the time blocking, the scheduling out of our days. And it was like, and even though we had a list, or the kids had a list of what they had to do every day, it didn't necessarily always go in the same order. So time blocking usually got kind of thrown away because it was just like we moved our blocks around all day long. And it was just like, so I always got very frustrated, I think, with a lot of the time management tools out there, because it was like, I felt like we got a lot done, but there was times where it wasn't so organized per se, but it was just like, so it was like, I did a lot of willy-nilly type stuff because it was like the things that were out there weren't really working.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of the times when we're given structure, especially around schooling or even how to run a business, it feels very much like it's locking us in. Like we don't have any wiggle room. And yet as children and even as women, that creative space, the ability to have a flexible life, which is what so many of us ask for. I mean, a lot of us become entrepreneurs. A lot of us start our own business because the temptation and the desire for flexibility, the ability to bring income in, that's what we truly want. And in all my research and everything that I've looked up, that's what women want. They want the money to get by.
Yep.
They want to be able to take on those, those trips. They want to be able to, bring financial stability into the family. They want to retire a husband. They want to do a lot of different things. And around that, they want the flexibility to build a business, but it seems so rigorous.
It does. And it was like what you said about like, the structure taking away some of the creativity. And I look back at my kids and I'm like, and I could see like my boys, especially my oldest one, he liked his order to the day. He started with the same subject. He literally went bub, 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 until he was done. But I look back and it was like in my daughter, I often like had to hunt the house to find her for one thing. And I would often find her doing things her own way. It was like she would get it done, but it didn't necessarily always fit into the box. I mean, it was like she built houses and families to do her math work. And so it was just like, I love how it's like we talk about the creativity and being the creator of your time and the creator of what you want to do with your time. Because I think when we look at time in a more flexible manner, instead of being so finite, when we look at it in the longer scheme of time, it's like we still get everything done. It just doesn't look the same every day.
Yeah, it just changes.
It
right?
does.
Like we want the fluid and flexibility. I mean, we were talking with one of our members of our community that's inside of Unlocking My Millions. And she's like, the desire for my business is that it just flows with my day. It's not something that I'm structuring into my day. Right. And I think that's where a lot of us women struggle is like we're trying to structure and follow what we've been traditionally taught of how to build a business, but that rigid structure doesn't allow for the flow. And because hormonally as women, we fluctuate day by day because of our system and our cycle and just how we engage with the world around us. It really was like, okay, yes, there are things in our life that are going to be scheduled in a time frame. Doctor's appointments, things that you're engaging with in the world that just have a very defined time they have to take place. Right. So there's some of that, but there's also, it's like, okay, where can I creatively come into my business? Where can I do this and this and this? And so when we are creating CreatHer around time management, I recognize, and this is my big thing, right? And I didn't realize how much of a passion I have for this until I start looking back and just remember sitting in those workshops and these entrepreneurial workshops with women, and they're being told how to time block, how to color, how to do this. And I just remember always looking at the room, and especially with women, and you could just see in their face this sense of defeat, right? Like, how am I supposed to do this while raising my kids? How am I supposed to do this while taking care of a parent? How am I supposed to create this rigid schedule that I have to do my daily method of operation, right? This is what I have to be doing. Like, and it was just heartbreaking because there wasn't and hasn't really been until now to what we've created a more fluid flowing structure to designing your life. And I think that's really when you look at what is CreatHer, what does that look like? And we put together CreatHer in Time for women because it's about creating your life and recognizing that it's always going to be shifting, changing, and evolving.
And I think that's key. It's like, it's like, 'cause we talk about the women's cycle and the woman's natural way of being. And I remember it's like the whole daily method of operation. I used to get excited I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I have a plan. I have a structure, and it would go really good for a few days. and then, but I think that just speaks to how women are. It's like we are a certain way for a certain time period throughout the month, but then it changes. Our energy level changes. Our creative mind changes. Some weeks we're really good at clicking off those tasks. In other weeks, we need more time to contemplate, to color, to do something crafty, to do something creative.
Yeah, and even to not to do business for a day. Like, we beat ourselves up because we're not on 24/7, but we're on 24/7 in so many other areas of our life, especially around taking care of family, responsibilities. Like, there's just this ongoing sense of when do I have time for me?
Yeah.
So when we were putting together a CreatHer in Time, and that's what we're talking about today, is really the CreatHer in Time. This is a 6-part workshop series because one of the things that I really saw women struggle with was trying to get it all done in the day, right? Like, okay, we're going to plan your year for, we're talking 2025 coming up. So one of the things in working with women and even getting feedback from those inside of the Truth Mom Academy, the women in there are phenomenal, all in business, all in different forms of business, different types of business, years in business. And I just love that they're able to kind of share what works and what hasn't worked in different ways, right? And so when we were putting together CreatHer in Time, and we're helping women design and create their best year for 2025, right? What we had to do was recognize that you can't just give women a one and done because it doesn't really flow that way. And it depends also where you are energetically in your season, where you're energetically in your cycle, that this may not be the best time for you, but it's to get you in there and in the conversation. That's why we do it over 6 days.
Right.
And we take you step by step so it doesn't have this overwhelm. Yep. Because a lot of the times I see a lot of the training out there, it's like, oh, it's a 2-hour, vision board training. We're going to sit for 2 hours or 3 hours and we're going to create, what you want in your life. For me, in talking with women, that's never enough time to create. Right? We're not finite. We can't just this is when we're doing this, right? Yep. And so we need that ability to kind of explore what we're looking for. And I've had women that have gone through CreatHer in Time and it was previously named something else, but it's taken them a whole month to really design that board.
Right.
Right. And to really get clear on what they want and what their intentions are for the following year. So that was something for me. It was there's so many programs out there that are just a 1 day, maybe 2 day, but really what I found to have an open, transparent, real conversation around what it is to create a female life with you at the center, which is the hardest thing for most women, is to center themselves.
Yes.
Who are you? You're not just a mom. You're not just a wife. You're not just a sister. You're not like all the labels we put on ourselves, like stripping that away and saying, okay, what do you desire?
Yeah. And that was, for me, I think the first time I went through it, that was the hardest thing for me to get back to. Whereas it's like, what was my desire instead of what was my spouse's desire, my children's desires, my parents' desires. It was just like, what was it that I actually desired? And it was like going through how we have structured it, how it has been structured, and the exercises that we go through really help you to get back to what it is your heart desire is. And a lot of that still is wrapped around those who are intimately involved in your daily life, but it's more than that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and so it's that, and I think before you even get to your vision board, going through those exercises, going through that mindset exercise really helps you to create the vision board that you want to happen.
Yeah. And it's so funny even when we talk about this, because so I've been working with a certain type of planner for the last 4 years now. And there's always modifications I want to make. There's always things that stump us as women. There are times when we don't even use planners at all because they're really not designed for women. They're designed as a productivity tool.
Yes.
And a productivity tool for women doesn't allow for the creativity of a day or the flexibility of a day. It becomes a very rigid set of rules that we start to follow. And like you said, even for yourself, I can follow that for a short period of time, but long term, I will typically disregard or stop using that tool.
And for those of you who are thinking in your mind, I'm not really creative, I'm not a colorer, I'm not a crafter. The thing is, as a woman, you are a creator of your life. Your body is made to create life. And our bodies are made, our bodies, our minds, our cycles are the ways that we create what we want. Yeah. And so even if you don't feel like you're this crafty, artsy person, that's not necessarily what we're referring to. We're really referring to like being the creator of your time, not just letting your time happen to you, but being the creator of what happens.
Yeah. So during these 6 workshops, there are pages, there are worksheets, there are workbooks that you'll be working on during this. And really it's about getting back to the center of who you are. We've been so conditioned to be a certain way around our business, around our families, that what we're doing is we're asking you to really give up what you believe you know about creating your life and approach it from the female perspective and giving yourself back the grace to chase your desires as if there's nothing wrong. Right? And I think that's really where, when we looked at CreatHer in Time, it is about, okay, we're going to bring a small group of women together. We are going to work with you. So we have the members that are already inside of Unlocking My Millions and those that are inside Truth Bomb Academy. So for all the women that are inside Truth Bomb Academy that are listening, you have been really critical and crucial to the development of this, because it's been the ongoing feedback of this community for the last 3 years around time management, around what works for them, and their feedback around what they like to do, right? And having them being open and transparent about that.
Yeah.
So creating a training, a workshop series that is taking place right at the start of December. So one of the things that was really interesting to kind of learn is that you always feel a little bit behind when you start planning your year and you're already in your year. For some women, this causes a mass amount of anxiety because now you feel like you're behind the 8 ball. And we have so many things that we feel like we're behind in our business, that to start this process that's going to take you 6 days puts you already 2 weeks into the new year.
Right.
And or later. And it's almost like you feel like, how do I get ahead of this? How do I get ahead of the 8 ball? And in a lot of the mentorships and trainings and books that I've read over the course of the last 10 years, really they say you should be planning your year, what you want it to look like at the end of December. Well, hello. The guys say that all the time. It's like, yeah, we pick a couple days and, we'll get this, we'll sit down with friends and we'll get our year planned, right? Dear God, I wish. So many times for women, we are the ones that are planning Christmas. We are planning and taking care of the kids when they're home from school. Like, we're the nurturers and caretakers of that time. So really carving out time during those last 2 weeks of the year
Mm-hmm.
is like an impossibility to sit down and get together. But if you wait till the beginning of the year, then you feel like you're behind. So it's like, this doesn't work. Right? And so one of the things that came up was like, what if the first 2 weeks of December, where it's kind of like right after the holidays, Thanksgiving, if you're here in the United States, it's a little bit of a lull. Mm-hmm. Nothing is going on. Kids are still in school. You still kind of have some free time, right? What if we use this time to do some of that deeper thinking?
Yeah.
What if we use this time to really look at what are we creating in our lives? And, you know, it's a beautiful thing because I've seen so many women in this time period as we've developed out this Creator in Time series that they are just moved, touched, and inspired. They're, for the first time, feeling heard and get a sense that what they want in their life, it's okay to desire that.
Yeah.
And it really is a beautiful journey that I'm honored, and I know Heidi's probably honored also, that we get to take these women on. Because it's not just the doing, it's not just the how much productivity and getting all the stuff done. It's not just about that. It's getting back to your core.
Yeah.
And really looking at where are you at in your life right now. And if it's exactly where you want to be, how do you level up? If it's not where you want to be, how do you get what you want? Right? And it's in that discovery that we really work with you to discover for yourself, what is it that you desire to have in your life? What should and do you want? Not what should, but what do you want your business to look like? How do you want it to, you know, intermingle or flex with your life?
Right.
And I think those are some of the beautiful questions that we go through because we do a her self-discovery and awareness. We talk about, you know, what are your dreams and desires? We walk you through, like, how does this look in your life? Who are your people that are supporting you? What does it look like to get supported? You know, what is this journey that you're on? And then how do you bring that to a calendar format? How do you bring this into a tool that can support you? Mm-hmm. And what is it that women need to track that's different from what men need to do in a productivity calendar? So It's not so much about getting more done. Really, it's more about doing less and doing things within your energy cycle so that you have that sense of accomplishment in your life, but done in a way that feels really natural for you. Yes. So that for me is really what Creator in Time is.
Yeah, no, I think you've summed it up perfectly. And I know for me, it's like the first year I went through it, it impacted me like really strong about how I'm building this business, but sometimes I didn't even know what I wanted to do with the business. And I think just really getting back to your desires, and understanding yourself more just really helps you to actually create the year that you want.
Yeah. And I think 2025, there's so much energy. There's so much shifting for women. There's almost been like this winds of change that have been happening. And we've been talking about it, and kind of a lot of the women's groups that I'm part of, you know, that they feel like there's different energy. There's an energy shift and everything's going on. And really, I feel like now as we step into 2025, stepping into a new decade of the century, new quarter century, right? Like we have an opportunity from this point to really start honoring us.
Yes.
And learning how to weave and blend that into the reality of the business world around us.
Yep.
And allow it to look different. So I'm excited. So for those of you that are curious about what it is that Creator in Time is, we invite you to come and check it out. So if you head over to truthbombmarketing.com/magic, we'll leave those links also in our description. So anywhere you find this video on our podcast, there'll be the links for that. But we do recommend checking it out, seeing for yourself. It is just $149 for the 6 days, which is a steal, to be honest, because they're live, they're interactive. You're going to have workbooks to play with, because that is really the start of your journey. So getting clear on that is really what we want for you. That's what we desire for you. So head over to truthbombmarketing.com/magic, MAGIC, and learn more about it and get registered for Creator in Time. This will be a transformative very different experience than most people have around what it is to create her life.
Yes.
So we invite you into that one. And if you haven't already, we have an amazing academy called Truth Bomb Academy. It is free for you to join. It is an app, so you can go into your Google or Apple store.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely go in there, download Truth Bomb Academy, join for free, see what we have in there, poke around, meet the amazing women that are in there. And if you're listening to our podcast here, we love 5-star ratings.
5 stars.
5-star ratings.
5 stars.
So definitely, if you're getting the value from our podcast, we love the ratings. We love the comments. We love the engagement from you. So continue to subscribe if this is your first time listening to us, and come and play with us. We have a lot of fun here inside. Did she really say that? As we interview, as we talk about, and as we really explore a new paradigm shift in what it is to be a woman in the business world, while still taking care of herself, family, and those most important to her. So thanks for listening in, and we'll see you, or listen to you, on the next episode.